When you look at the American flag flying on a front porch or outside a local post office, you probably imagined it was created by a massive committee of historical experts, master designers, or top tier government officials. You definitely didn't picture a terrified, stressed out 17-year-old high school student frantically cutting up his parents' property on a kitchen table on a Sunday night because he forgot a homework assignment. But that is exactly how our modern 50-star flag was born. Today, we are diving into the hilarious, deeply true story of Bob Heft, a teenager from Ohio who looked at a bad grade, decided to challenge the entire United States government to a game of chicken, and ended up rewriting history. It's the ultimate blueprint on why you should never let someone else's narrow vision dictate your worth. Let's get into it. Let's set the scene. The year is 1958. The United States has only 48 states at this time, meaning the flag is a neat, orderly grid of 6 rows with 8 stars in each. But rumors are swirling that Alaska and Hawaii are finally about to join the Union. Enter stage left Bob Heft, a junior at Lancaster High School in Ohio. His history teacher, a notoriously tough grader named Stanley Pratt, sounds like a tough teacher, designs a creative project. Bob decides he's going to get ahead of the curve and design the future 50-star flag. Now, Bob doesn't have a massive budget, so he does what any desperate high schooler does. He improvises. He goes into his parents' closet, takes out a beautiful 48-star flag they had received as a wedding gift, and casually brings it to the kitchen table with a pair of scissors. Bob spends the next 3 days slicing that family heirloom into pieces, using iron-on materials to carefully arrange 50 stars in a brand new alternating pattern. Fast forward to Monday morning. He proudly marches into class and hands it in to Mr. Pratt. His teacher looks at this heavily altered, slightly scorched, ironed-together flag, shakes his head, and gives Bob a B-. Mr. Pratt's official feedback? It has too many stars. It looks cluttered, and frankly, you vandalized your parents' property. And naturally, like any teenager, Bob is furious. A B- for predicting the future? So he goes up to Mr. Pratt after class to argue his case. Bob points out that Alaska and Hawaii are practically a done deal, and the country is going to need this exact design. Mr. Pratt is completely unmoved by the 17-year-old's grand geopolitical visions. He looks Bob dead in the eyes and issues a literal legendary dare. He says, "Tell you what, Heft, if you don't like the grade, get the U.S. Congress to officially adopt your flag design. If they pick it, come back to me, and I'll change your grade to an A." Now, most teenagers would have rolled their eyes, slammed their locker door shut, maybe gone back to playing video games or hanging out at the local restaurant. But Bob Heft possessed the kind of stubborn, chaotic optimism that changes the world. He accepted this bet. For the next 2 years, Bob becomes a one-man marketing agency. He's writing letters, making long-distance phone calls, and he literally ships his heavy, ironed-together prototype flag directly to his local congressmen and the White House. He did this over and over again, completely ignoring the wall of silence and all the rejection letters he received. He refused to let a B- be the final word on this project. Fast forward to 1960. Alaska and Hawaii are officially admitted as states. The White House receives over 1,500 amateur design submissions for a brand new flag. One afternoon, Bob is sitting at home and the phone rings. He picks it up, and the voice on the other end says, "Is this Robert Heft? Please hold for the President of the United States." Bob clearly thinks this is some joke by his friends, but a second later, President Dwight D. Eisenhower comes on the phone line. The president personally tells Bob that out of 1,500 designs, his alternating star pattern was chosen as the official flag of the United States of America. Why? Because Bob's design was the only prototype submitted that someone actually took the time to physically sew and test it on a flagpole to see how it would fly in the wind. On July 4th, 1960, Bob stood directly next to President Eisenhower in Washington, D.C., as his high school history project finally was officially raised over the U.S. Capitol for the very first time. And yes, true to his word, stingy Mr. Pratt immediately went back to his high school gradebook, crossed out that old B-, and officially gave Bob his well-earned A. I mean, come on, he couldn't even give him an A+. It's an awesome story about someone believing in what they're doing. If you love this story and want to hear more like it, and some actionable strategies and positive quotes. I do this every week on Tuesdays. So join me and don't miss any episodes. So why are we talking about Bob Heft's homework today on Briefly Good? Because every single day, the world is going to hand you a B minus. Whether it's a boss who doesn't see your potential, a critic online who disses your creative work, or just that internal voice of self-doubt telling you that your ideas are a little too messy. People will always try to grade your vision based on their own limitations. Mr. Pratt didn't hate Bob. He just couldn't see past the current 48 state reality. So here is our actionable mindset strategy for the week. Let's call it the B minus filter. The next time you put your heart into a project or a goal or a career shift and someone gives you a lukewarm feedback, don't shrink. Don't pack up everything and go home. Treat their criticism like a dare. Use their lack of vision as a fuel to bypass the middleman entirely and take your ideas straight to the top. Keep pitching, keep creating, and keep shipping your prototypes. Let's be honest. If a 17-year-old kid with a pair of scissors and an iron can change the face of a nation, you can absolutely handle whatever roadblock is in front of you this week. So keep pushing, believe in yourself, and don't give up. And before we wrap up today, let's close things out with our tradition, the positive quote of the week. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. Franklin D. Roosevelt. I appreciate you listening all the way through here on Briefly Good. I'm your host, Scott. I hope you join me next Tuesday for another uplifting micro podcast. Do something good today, even if it's brief.